Welcome to the Bay Insider with Amanda and Ying, where we talk about history, lifestyle, and real estate in the San Francisco Bay Area. All right, today we're going to be talking about the Outer Richmond district, and we're going to have Ying leading our conversation as she spends a lot of time in the Outer Richmond and absolutely loves it. All of us are familiar with it, and we have a special guest today who is Jack Gill, who happens to be my father, and he was born and raised in the Outer Richmond district. So he'll have lots of great historical information that he can add to the conversation.
We're going to call him Captain Jack.
Yes, we're going to call him Captain Jack because he lives on a boat. Currently, where are you, Dad?
I'm in Havaoa.
Havaoa. That is a French Polynesian island in the Marquesas, correct?
It's in the Marquesas, yes.
Yeah, and you sailed there from Mexico recently, yes?
How long did it take?
Approximately 4 weeks, and we didn't kill each other.
Well, that's good. Or eat each other, which is even better.
Oh my God, please don't go there.
Let's move on to the Outer Richmond. So we're going to start. Ying's going to talk a little bit about the Outer Richmond, and please feel free to chime in if you have some tidbits of information at any moment in time, and we'll ask you some questions as well.
Outer Richmond. It's at the northwest corner of San Francisco. I love Outer Richmond. It's just so beautiful. In my mind, it's one of the most beautiful neighborhoods in the city. The shape of it is almost like a square. North side, we got Sutro Bath. We have the VA Medical Center, Land's End, Legion of Honor, Lincoln Park Golf Course. On the east side, it's a Central Richmond. So the divider is 32nd Avenue. On the south side, we have Golden Gate Park. And the west side, we have lovely Ocean Beach. So Outer Richmond is very low-key. It has very strong Chinese and Russian influence. Lots of properties in Outer Richmond have ocean views. According to travel publisher Time Out, Richmond was ranked number 27 in world's coolest place to live in 2023.
Coolest place.
I don't know
not temperature-wise.
No. But
cool
like
people.
Cool people, fun people, interesting people. I don't know how you define that, but that's the ranking. So the major streets: California, Geary, Balboa, Clement, and Fulton. And lots of commercial activities are at Balboa Village, which is 32nd and 42nd in that about 10-block radius.
So basically that's our geography, right? Of where you were. And where were you located when you were born?
First of all, the boundaries, 30 seconds. Now that's right where I went to school, Washington.
Yeah, exactly.
Presidio.
So you went to Presidio, then you went to Washington?
Well, actually, I started off in the parochial school, St. Thomas.
That's also Outer Richmond. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
No longer exists, though.
Really?
Yeah, they closed it down a couple of years ago, unfortunately.
Basically, you are living history of the neighborhood. I don't know if you want to give any kind of intro to that.
I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we know. Then maybe you can tell us what you know. In the 1800s, what's now Richmond district was the outside lands, like the rest of the western part of the San Francisco. Then it becomes
sand dunes, yeah.
Yeah, it's all sand dunes, right? But it wasn't even part of San Francisco until 1866. After the earthquake, a lot of people moved to the western side of the city, and all the development happened in 1920s. You were not born back then, right? 1920s.
1944.
What it was like when you were growing up?
I think my grandparents moved out to Lake Street right around 22nd because their house burned down because of the earthquake. Yeah. My mother was actually born on Lake Street, and so when my mother got married, she was living not that far from the Lake Street home, but on California Street near 24th. That's where I was born. The interesting thing is she met my father at the beach, China Beach. My father was a big swimmer.
And when they took you to China Beach, how did they used to secure you when they went off and did their swimming or whatever they did?
Well, my father would when he would take off and be gone for hours.
Right.
He would
Swimming?
Out to the lighthouse, yeah, swim out to the light. He and
Oh my gosh, the lighthouse?
That's pretty far.
Yeah, Mile Rock that's the lighthouse there.
Okay.
But my mother would just hang out at the beach with a beach blanket, and she would sleep. But in order to do that, they would tie me to a big rock.
What?
I have a picture of it.
That's child abuse
I have a picture of it, and I will include the picture in our podcast.
Oh.
And then you got too big, and you'd pick up the rock and just walk around with it.
What?
But yeah, that didn't work any longer.
I want to hear about Playland. Because Playland was down there, and that was a big thing for a long time. Do you know the years on Playland by any chance?
1928. Then it closed down in 1972.
Yeah, so by 1972, it was pretty sad, right?
It was pretty sad. They just let it go.
So you were born in 1944. You went there as a young child. So what was it like?
It was like, Santa Cruz, the amusement park in Santa Cruz.
Oh.
Have you ever been there?
Yeah. Okay, games.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the Itsit was first made there in a little stand, right?
Yeah, right. We used to get
Itsit.
and then
Nice.
and the enchiladas they had at another Mexican place there was delicious. But I wasn't allowed to go when I was 4. We were not supposed to go down there, by ourselves. But we used to sneak down there anyway. We'd go through Sutro Park,
Right.
and then climb, go down the sand dunes there, where you get tickets and points, and then you get some stupid stuffed animal or some damn thing.
Well, it's still the same.
All the amusement
It works the same way. Hasn't changed.
The rides that I really liked was the bumper cars, the electric cars.
I love those too.
Funhouse has really lived up to its name. They had the coolest slides in there. I mean, they were so high. And you go to the top, and then you come down on like sacks, like rice sacks. You go really fast. The brave people sort of went down head first, which is really dumb. But the entrance to it, it was a whole like a gauntlet you go through. You go in, and they had these things that spun around and would like squeeze you, and then you get out of those, and there was some guy operated. There was a fresh airstream, and of course women would go there and would lift their skirts up, right?
Oh, Marilyn Monroe. Okay, we got it.
And then when you got through that, there was this big record turntable, but really, really large. You learn pretty soon that in order not to get spun off, you would get into the center as close as you can. But once you got to the outside, you're really spinning, and it would just throw you off. From there, you'd go onto this like wooden walkway, but it went up and down like this, up and down. So you're like a drunken sailor.
Do you know Laughing Sal?
No.
They had the Museum Mécanique, right?
Right.
They had below there, which is now out by the by Fisherman's
Wharf, right? Yeah.
But they had that, and Laughing Sal was like a big fixture at the beginning when you walk in there, and it's a huge, like, red-haired, freckled, and this thing, it would like laugh, ha ha ha, and it would like go forward and back, and it was kind of crazy. Anyways, you can see it at the Museum Mécanique.
Sounds a little creepy.
It is creepy. It's totally creepy. And they had all old kind of things that you could watch. Really interesting old scenery and little boxing machine. You put 10 cents in there and you punch with the punching.
I want to just go back to cover a couple of things. One thing is that whenever we talk about Richmond, we need to talk about Adolf Sutro. Apparently, he owned much of the Richmond. He was also mayor of San Francisco, only for 2 years. Do you know anything about him and his legacy?
Yeah, my mother went to the same high school as his daughter.
Okay.
It was the all-girls high school at the time. Central Park was a private residence, sort of. and there was a fence around it. And, remember, she said she went in there with his daughter. There were still a lot of buildings in there. You could see some old pictures of what it looked like when it was actually his residence before he donated it to the city.
I do want to ask one question, Dad, though, because I was just looking. It looked like the Sutro Baths, they closed at 1965. I mean, did you go to the Sutro Baths?
I want to know that too.
Yeah.
I did. It was.
What was it like? Tell us.
So did you see all the pools? 7 of them?
Yeah, they had different pools. It was all salt water because salt water was plentiful there. I think there was one freshwater. I can't remember whether.
Yeah, I think so too. There was one freshwater, rest as saltwater pools.
And what inquiring minds really want to know, because we saw online that like you go and you check in and you get a bathing suit with your fee to get in. I mean, did people typically wear the bathing suits that they rented out, or did they wear their own bathing suits?
We bought our own suits.
You bought your own. Okay.
Okay.
No, they don't make. You could wear your own.
Okay.
Because they were really terrible. It was really some scratchy material. That's all I remember about them. They were all gray. They were gray too. They were gray.
Okay.
So what it was like to swim there, and how many people were there?
Oh, there was quite a few, if I remember. Swimming was fun. You had all these different pools you could go into, and at varying temperatures. There was one you could dive into for 25 cents. I think it was. You could spend a whole day entertaining yourself at Sutro Baths. You'd walk in there. They had this thing. You would look down. It was like a reverse periscope. It had mirrors, and you could see the baths. You could see the ice skating rink.
Oh, right. There was ice skating rink as well. Yeah.
Yeah, which lasted a lot longer than the pool did. They had this other thing called the Chamber of Horrors.
Really?
Is that where the mummies were? Or no?
Mummies. They also had all these torture devices. Like they must have gotten from the Inquisition, Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, exactly. That's what fascinated me. So you actually saw all that stuff over there.
Yeah, like I used to have nightmares about that stuff. Like especially the Iron Maiden. That was like a stand-up thing. You'd open up one half, and it had spikes in it. And then they had a stretching machine. This stuff was great. I mean, it's just. I mean, yeah, that was. I think the word.
Sutro Bath. You know how Sutro Bath was burned, right? Burned down in 1960s. Many things happened at a cliff house. So some people say because of all the artifacts Sutro brought back, like the mummies and all that stuff, there are a lot of evil spirits in the Sutro area. That explains of all the disasters happened in that area. What do you think of that?
Hooey.
I'm just curious because if I read the history of Cliff House, I was like, how many times, right, Amanda? How many?
Yeah, I mean, I think there were 6 different. Is it 6? 6 different times.
Depends. Yeah, it depends how you count it.
Because it had, destruction. There was the cool old 7-story iteration and all kinds of different stuff. But it burned down and
it got hit by a boat with dynamite.
Yeah,
and several other boats just keep on going to Cliff House. I don't understand why. so
perhaps the geography.
Yeah, maybe. But then people associate all the disasters at Sutro Bath and Cliff House to all the things in the torture chamber you were talking about.
There was a lot of shipwrecks there. That's mainly because it was because of the fog and
the rocks.
I don't know about these spirits things.
I tend to agree with you, Dad. I think that's just circumstantial. But I will tell you that I was at the Cliff House 25 years ago or something, and I was at the restaurant when they had the big plate glass windows looking out, and it was a horrible stormy night, and we were right by the big window in the front, and you could hear it just was terrible, frightening, all the noise, and I thought, these windows are going to blow in. And then within an hour after we left eating dinner there, those plate glass windows we were sitting next to did indeed blow in.
So you think it's just because it's so windy over there and the location of that make it like prone to
a hazardous area.
Yeah, prone to disasters. Yeah, maybe. I like the ghost story. I prefer that one.
You can go for the ghost story if you like.
That version.
A lot of people go for the ghost stories.
So back then, people would just come to Ocean Beach or this area for swimming, for vacation, Playland, all that stuff. It was a vacation town, right? Taking the little train.
Well, that was before I was born, but so yeah, it'd be a destination, like an excursion.
Now let's add a little more to Cliff House. So Cliff House has been around for a long time, but it shut down during COVID. It's going to be a new restaurant. Do you know anything about it, Amanda?
I know that they're supposed to be reopening sometime this year.
Another thing I love about the area is the Land's End, the hiking trail. It has the most beautiful view. It's just lovely trail. One of the stops is the Mile Rock Beach. You can also walk to the golf course, the Legion of Honor. Just beautiful. And how about Lincoln Park Golf Course? Did you ever play there? Do you play golf?
No, I used to sell retrieve golf balls back to the golfers.
Let's talk about Golden Gate Park a little bit. I'm sure you spend a lot of time there too. So we have a tiny little golf course there too. 9-hole golf course in Golden Gate Park. And I actually took some golf lessons there. And I heard they have a Wednesday night women's club. Okay. That people go there play golf together because it's a short course. There's a tulip garden and there's a archery range.
We used to go down there because I used to do archery with the friends. There's a lot of things right around that area. Fly casting pool. The only thing right next to that was the stables.
Correct. Yeah, they have horses there too, like horseback riding.
But they used to play polo there, and that was one of my first jobs. Was working
at the polo field. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
I used to walk horses and then be scorekeeper, and that's how I learned how to ride. Actually, a little bit.
I don't think they have polo games anymore nowadays. It's soccer, cross country, cycling. They have this cycling track where people train. But I have never seen a polo game. Have you?
I haven't seen a polo game. I see horses going through the park. Yeah.
There's also bisons. So supposedly, I never counted. There are 10 of them. 10 bisons in Golden Gate Park.
Yeah, we used to go out and look at the bison out there, right? They've been there for a long time, yeah, Dad?
Oh yeah, ever since I was a kid.
One more event at the polo field, it's the turkey trot. So every Thanksgiving...
They have turkey races?
No, it's basically a Thanksgiving event. So Thanksgiving in the morning, there'll be hundreds of people there doing a run, like 5K or 5 miles. And the idea is you do a morning run before you go eat a turkey, for the Thanksgiving feast. A lot of people dress like turkey when they do the turkey trots. Now, let's talk about some places, restaurants in the area. We obviously talk about Cliff House.
The Cliff House, they were really well known for, what were those things they made? Popovers. They're like a puffy kind of bread thing.
It's like a bun, but...
like a hollow type of bread.
Yeah. It's very
light
good.
And airy.
And then there was the crab Louis salad. It was also very, very good.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a beach chalet. I mean, was that around back then? Beach chalet, park chalet?
Well, yes, but it was actually the VFW, Veterans of Foreign War, were there, and it wasn't open to the public, but it's a really neat. If you've ever been down there, they have all these WPA murals on the wall.
Right, I see that. Okay, I didn't realize.
Yeah, there's beautiful art there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can go and get a seat right by the window up in the beach chalet part, or you can go eat in the back where you can bring your dog and let your kids run around.
That's awesome.
It's a good place to go, especially on a nice day.
Kids can climb trees. Sometimes they have music. beer is great. If you like beer, they have all kinds of beer. Everything about it is wonderful. It's very San Franciscan place.
It's a place you bring people who came to visit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good excuse to get out there.
Absolutely. So there's a place I heard a lot about. Is Pacific Cafe.
What I liked about it was it was busy, and there was usually a line, but they would serve you wine while you're waiting. But the best seafood, they had really good seafood. That's what it was known for.
Okay. So there's some new places you probably don't know. One of them is the Andy Town Coffee Roasters. They opened a location right at that condo complex. La Playa is named the condo complex. Yeah, across the street from Ocean Beach. Along the Balboa area, there's Purple Cow. That's a very famous boba place. Then there's Mr. Bang Mai, which is really good. There's a boba in the 37th Avenue. There are a bunch of dumpling houses in that area. I counted 3 dumpling places in that little...
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. So we have a new trend in the city, Captain Jack, is dumpling houses everywhere. Every single neighborhood will have 1 or 2 or 3 dumpling houses.
Yeah, I think they just opened one in Noe Valley, too.
Yeah.
They're popping up everywhere.
Anything interesting you'd like to mention?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about stores and things, I wanted to just mention the Balboa Theater, which we didn't talk about, which is out there in Balboa. And I don't know what avenue, but...
Yes.
It's been around forever. Yeah?
Yeah.
Forever, it's still around. It's not owned by a huge conglomerate or anything like that. It's a smaller operation, and like my friend Adrian, her son Enzo, had his 10th birthday there, and they rented out the whole place, and it was so much fun, and they did a great job of kind of making a nice environment for that.
Any other interesting stories that we absolutely need to know?
We used to walk to school. That's an interesting thing. We actually walked to school.
I know some people still do. So Richmond has some bus routes, 38, 38 buses to downtown.
Down Gary.
Yeah, down Gary, 5 on Fulton, 1 on California. Those are, all the way straight to downtown. There's no underground trains. I know there have been talks and many, many plans about getting underground trains in Richmond. Doesn't look like it's happening.
If you're using public transportation, it's a little bit more difficult to get to. But those buses, the buses do go a long way, and they do go relatively fast, and they do have some express buses.
Yeah, most people have cars. And if you work in South Bay, or if you want to get on 280, Richmond is definitely, further out, much harder to get to. Schools. There's a Lafayette Elementary. There is, it's a K-5 school. It's at Anza and 37th. There's a San Francisco Pacific Academy. And nearby, we talk about George Washington and Presidio.
Which are your schools?
Your schools. And St. Thomas, as I was saying, no longer exists. To me, Richmond is just a lovely place. It's very, very beautiful, and it's more relaxed. It's more quiet. It can be foggy and windy, but it's a lovely place to live.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of nature stuff through the park, and I love the Sutro Park, and the ocean is right there, so it has that whole feel. And it really used to be much more cut off. I don't know about when you were growing up, Dad, but I know when I was growing up, any of my friends who, we lived in Noe Valley, but any of my friends who lived out there, it was like, they're dead to me. They live out there so far.
Dead to you, my gosh.
Well, no, it's like,
that is less brutal.
Well, in San Francisco also with schools, right? You have people from all kinds, different areas of the city going to school together, because we don't have
local neighborhood schools
as much, it's people just lottery. Anyways, that's changing a little bit, but for now that's how it is, and that's how it was when I was growing up. So I'd have friends who were way out in the Richmond, and it was like, I'll see them when school is on. For most of my childhood and most of the recent history in San Francisco, everything's kind of a lottery with the schools. So people are from all over. Now they're starting to go the other direction and make it a little bit more local, give a little more weight to where you live and going to public schools there. But when you were growing up, I'm just curious to know, was it local? Like, did you just go to whatever the school was closest, or was there this crazy lottery system?
No, there was nothing like that. Even so, it was one of the most multicultural, like especially Washington. It was like 1/3 white, 1/3 Asian, 1/3 black. And I don't know how it is now, but that's the way it was. Same with Presidio.
And was that
Presidio? Really? Oh, Presidio Middle School.
Yes, Presidio Middle School. Yeah.
But was that mostly people? So the neighborhood was more mixed racially, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Because if you're saying neighborhood kids went to the school,
Sounds like it was more diverse back then too. Even though you go to neighborhood school, you still have a diverse population. Versus today, I don't think it's very diverse.
It's much more siloed. It feels much more siloed.
Very much so. Yeah. Well, one thing about San Francisco's school system today is completely broken. And apparently with our lottery system, we still don't have the diversity we are looking for. It's not good for anyone, for kids, for parents, everyone involved. And that's why we're losing so many families, to South
teachers
Space.
And teachers,
everyone, right?
A lot of teachers. It's an unfortunate situation. So hopefully they get a handle on it.
Yes. So, Captain Jack, thank you so much for joining us today. And do you have any parting words for us?
About the Outer Richmond, I love fog. I really do. I miss it. I didn't think I'd miss that, but it's so cool to be walking in the fog. You just feel this insulation, when like you're, especially walking in Sutro Park at night in the fog. That's wonderful.
It's mysterious and cool. Yeah. Yeah, well, thank you for joining us for our Outer Richmond talk. And I think anybody who's considering the neighborhood can see that there are lots of great things about the area, a lot of history and a lot of great businesses that you can go to and community to build.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye now.
And maybe next time I'll be on the Terry Grove Show.
Certainly ask any questions to people. I'm sure there's all kinds of people who've been there forever, people who just moved there.
Just coming, young people, older people.
Interesting.
Yeah, not many kids have come, but dogs come.
That sounds great. So in terms of like just getting around in the neighborhood, transportation, obviously you can drive and you're geographically in the center of the city, but you've also got the J Church, which takes you kind of train above ground to Church and Market, and then you go underground to downtown if you want. You have the 24 to Visadero, which is a great line that takes you all the way down to Visadero, all the way to the marina. And then in the other direction, you can go all the way to Bernal Heights and beyond. Then you have the 35 Eureka, which is kind of a shorter line that goes basically to Glen Park. And then I believe, up kind of Market area. And there's tech buses that stop throughout the neighborhood. So people who work down in the South Bay can take those, Apple Bus and things like that. You've got good freeway access off of Cesar Chavez to the 101 or down Dolores Guerrero to get on the 280 to go south. So pretty well connected in terms of transportation, I would say. And then the schools, there's various preschools in Noe Valley, and I find that they change a lot of times. I think my son went to Moldovan, which was on Sanchez and Clipper, which I think has actually moved locations now. I don't know if they have a different program there now, but I mentioned that kind of pre-K program that they have that's at Teresa Muller Early Education, which is 990 Church Street near Dolores Park. And then there's the Mission Education Center, which is for newly immigrated Spanish-speaking children.
That's public, right? I remember that being a public one. Okay.
By 30th and Noe.
Yeah.
And to help integrate them into the school system. And then you have St. Paul's, which is the parochial kindergarten through 8th grade. which is at Church and 29th. And there's the other parochial school that's up on 24th Street.
There's another one.
It's K through 8, I believe. And
St. Philip's.
St. Philip's. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have like a fair every year. So does St. Paul's. And then you have James Lake Middle School, which takes up a full block between Noe and Castro, 25th and Clipper.
Right.
That's public. And then Alvarado Elementary School, which is at Alvarado and Douglas. So a lot of different options. I don't know if I missed anything there.
No, I think you covered all.
Yeah. And, and then the weather, of course, is a great reason why a lot of people like to live in Noe Valley on top of all the other wonderful things that we just mentioned. You've got Twin Peaks. That's the beginning of the bowl of Noe Valley. And you can always look up there and you see the fog coming over the hill. And it's still sunny where you are. And you say, those people up there on Portola are stuck in the fog, but we're in the sun.
It's true.
And
Watch
it's
the fog pour over it. So
It's so beautiful. Yeah. Noe Valley was a great neighborhood to grow up in the 70s and 80s, and it's still a wonderful place to live today. Thanks for listening.